Behind me, I have three of the most common types of miniature heavy equipments coming from China. We got a mini excavator, we got a ride-on, stand-on, little skid steer guy, and we got this wheel loader. I'm gonna try to help you decide which one is best for you if you're trying to pick between them. Obviously, if you need a mini excavator, you need that. There are several different sizes of mini excavators from China. A lot of them are relatively similar. I happen to know quite a bit about these by now. Then you got some other stuff like this stand-on mini skid steer deal and this wheel loader. A lot of people are confused and want to pick between one of these. I'll help you go through some pros and cons of one of those. This is one of the very common, very popular sizes of mini excavators from China. This is like the smallest one you can get, and I've been using this one. I dug a culvert with it, I dug a trench over here with it, and it's been working fine for what it does. Something I can definitely say right off the bat, if you can get one of the ones with pilot controls for not a lot more money, and I've seen them, I've seen people trying to sell these for way too high, and I've seen decent deals on the ones with pilot controls. Get one of those. The pilot controls are way smoother. This is fully like just valves and stuff. It's not electronic or nothing. Very jerky. It does work. It does what it's supposed to do. These have a 420cc single cylinder engine, just like the Predator engines you get at Harbor Freight. I mean, that's a common thing people will say with these. Well, if the engine goes bad, just go to Harbor Freight and get another one. And you absolutely could. Funny thing is, they seem to be quite reliable. This one in here is actually supposed to be a Briggs & Stratton. I think it's all the same stuff. It's all Chinese. Maybe that, yeah, sure, it is a Briggs & Stratton brand name, but they all seem to be pretty reliable. Now, one thing to certainly know with all this equipment is when you get it, you're supposed to change the oil. If you get one new off the shipping container, they come with like some vegetable oil or something in them for both the hydraulic fluid and the motor oil. So you want to change that as soon as possible. While these tiny mini excavators do what they're supposed to do, how useful is it really? In that's something I'm going to show you an example right here of when it's not going to be useful. So you see like this ground over here, for instance, is really hard now. It's 95 degrees out. It's the end of June. We're going into July. Let me just get on this thing and I'll show you that you're not going to dig in the ground like this. Okay, so I'm gonna try to break the ground now that it's rock hard. And you can see I did some work over here in springtime. That's probably the best time to use one of these is when the ground is real soft, right? So we're gonna put the blade down. There's the blade. That gives you extra stability. You wanna do that with a tiny machine like this. And then let's see if I can even do anything to this ground. Oh, hold on. It's doing better than I thought. Doing more than I thought. I thought the ground would be rock hard by now. Okay. Well, as you can see, maybe it's more useful than I gave it credit for. I mean, you're never gonna do full scoops on ground like this, but it is breaking it. Let's try again over here. That's operator error. Not that great with it. These things are very, very touchy, and I got pretty good with this one, but as you can see, they do slow down when they get hot. As any hydraulics would, they slow down a bit. A lot of the time, you're just going to be scraping a little bit off with something like this, like that, like that. There you go. You're just going to be scraping the surface. I mean, you hit real rocky ground, real hard ground. You're not going to be taking a whole lot out, but it's doing better than I thought. We were able to break the ground at least. I thought it would be freaking impossible. All right. We got it like a full scoop. I consider that decent. So the machine is certainly functional. It's not gonna like this is one of the main issues right here is the tracks are super touchy. While you can kind of get used to this and run this relatively smooth, the track deal is. And that's kind of on all of them, is that this is real, but that's not a primary function of an excavator though. It's just to move you around, You can't really complain at the end of the day for the price of one of these things. I mean, what do you want for this kind of money, you know? I was kind of talking crap on it right there, and I thought we were gonna go over there and hit that hard ground, and it was just gonna pick the machine up and just like scrape it. Well, it dug in a little bit. That's better than I thought. Thing I will say too, these come with a 16-inch wide bucket. I got a 8-inch wide like trench bucket, and I dug a trench with it over here, and you'd think that would like double the ground pressure and really make it dig better. It really didn't do a whole lot actually in terms of that. It took me a long time to dig a trench. I dug it about almost 4 foot deep in some spots for electrical line over here, and that took a while to do that. I'll say that took probably almost a week. Really rocky, and when you hit a lot of rocks with this thing, you're not really doing a lot. You're scraping them and picking them up, and a couple rocks here and there, right? For the kind of money you're gonna pay for something like this, what do you really expect? Now let me show you an example of another project I'm working on. Over here is a culvert I'm putting in, and there's some of the dirt. I already hauled quite a bit of it away, but I dug this whole thing out with that mini excavator, the Chinese mini excavator. And this down here, obviously you can see by the water, it's hot as crap out here and it's still holding water. This was really soft, and I took big giant scoops right out of there. It's a ditch, so this came out real easy. It worked really well, and even on a slope, put the blade down, worked pretty good. I certainly would be cautious of rolling that machine over though, because I mean, it still is tippy. Again, even though it's, like I said, I was on a little bit of a slope there, I put the blade down. If you get a little too crazy, you don't want to roll that thing. It's not that heavy, but it's heavy enough to hurt you. I forgot to mention is this one did have a cab on it. That's why there's no canopy or anything. The glass got broke on the cab, just took it off. I think the cabs are overrated on these, and you could see early on these things were selling with the cabs for a lot more money, and now that's kind of chilled out a little bit, I think. And the reason for that is because people have realized the cabs kind of suck on these. It gets very fumy in there. You get these little engines and stuff, the exhaust, all that. You get kind of smoked out, choked out inside that thing. Then they got ones with ACs on them and stuff. I don't know, that's cool, but you're trying to get too fancy with a piece of equipment like this. A couple problems I've had with this thing, just to go over briefly, I think is probably afflicts all of them, is you gotta watch the tracks. So they have an adjuster nut in here to adjust the tension. Like I said, I got this one used. I think it said it had 50 hours on it. I don't know if the hour meter stopped working at some point. Could have a couple hundred hours on it, who knows? But apparently the track may have stretched a little bit. I had the track fall off once. I got it back on. It's really not that bad to get them on. You gotta just back the adjuster nut all the way out, and then you get the track back on. And I tensioned it again, and well, I must have not tightened the lock nut up enough because it fell off again. And I don't think the tracks falling off is really a big problem as long as you keep tension on them and that nut doesn't come loose. That holds the tensioner in place, right? But when that comes loose and it backs off, you lose tension. I don't think the track's gonna come off if it's fully tensioned. Now you can certainly tension it too much and too tight. You don't want to do that. You want to find a sweet spot in there where it's tight but not binding up. And then these style of tracks also, when you get rocks and stuff in there, it's rough because the gears down here, you know, I mean, that's kind of just something you got to deal with. You get the rocks and stuff in the tracks. Other than that, I don't think there's really much to complain about with something like this. Again, for the kind of money you pay for something like this, if you can find a good deal on what the pilot controls, certainly get it. They sell the ones with the diesel engines. Sure, it may be a real Kubota diesel engine. Again, it's whatever Kubota's making in China now. Clearly the diesel ones go for a lot more money just because they have a diesel engine, right? Only final possible thing, I have seen people bend these drive motor brackets back here. These get bent because it's just this plate, and I don't know what they do. I've seen pictures of several of them, but they bend them one way or the other. I don't know what the heck they're doing. What they'll end up doing is weld and adjust it from there to there. Okay, so on to the stand-on skid steer and the wheel loader. I'm gonna kind of talk about these as if they're kind of similar because they do the same kind of functions. You're moving dirt around. Big difference right off the bat is the stand-on skid steers usually have a quick attach on them and the wheel loaders do not. So if you wanted to put forks on this thing, you'd have to either use the bucket forks, which I wouldn't recommend because this bucket's really thin, or you'd have to just fabricate up your own bracket, quick attach bracket to these 3 mounting points, which really wouldn't be that hard if you can fabricate and weld at all. But as you can see, the ride-on skid steer has the mini quick attach system on it, so you can get mini forks. Anything that would fit Toro Dingo is what they go by, just mini skid steer. However, with that said, I think that this thing gets a kind of a bad rap. For some reason, these are going really, really cheap. You can find one of these really cheap, and I think they've gotten kind of a bad rap for some reason. And they're a little clunky, they're a little weird, but I think it's a more capable machine, especially for, you can get one really freaking cheap. More capable machine than the stand-on skid steer overall, if you're actually looking to, if you need a little bit more capacity in the bucket, weight, etc. Obviously, the tracked stand-on skid steer is way more maneuverable by far. This thing doesn't turn very good. You know, if you need to go fast, you need to move more stuff, and you don't care about the turning radius or maneuverability, definitely shoot for one of these. If you need to squeeze between fence gates and you're like doing projects in people's backyards or something, obviously you want the stand-on skid steer deal. Now they do sell ones with wheels on them, which I kind of like. I'd almost rather deal with wheels than these tracks. If some, you know, you can find replacement tracks. I'm seeing them, but again, that's kind of iffy. You would much rather deal with wheels. Again, the wheeled ones don't bring any money, but because people see the tracks, they like the tracks. You know, it's cool, definitely obviously more traction, but you may have some issues down the road if something you're trying to keep long term. I don't know, we haven't really even seen yet how the durability in the extreme long term is with something like this. Now you can get these stand-on skid steers with either, this is a smaller one, this just has a single cylinder. It does have a hydraulic cooler here. That's really important and really good. This is just a single cylinder. You can, the difference between, you'll see ones with 2 outputs on a pump and then 3 outputs will have a higher flow auxiliary. This is just a single cylinder, one's small. It does have auxiliary hookups. It's a fully hydraulic machine, everything's hydraulic. The wheel loader, on the other hand, is not a fully hydraulic machine. This is a lot more like a traditional kind of, you know, forklift wheel loader where you have a clutch, you have a brake, and you got a throttle, all foot controls, and then it has this is hydraulic for the bucket up here. You got a steering wheel, this is hydraulic as well. The steering, it's an orbital valve like you'd find on a forklift. Or my rock crawler over there. I also use one of those over there. Articulates up here, it runs these hydraulic cylinders. Should just be, no, there is 2. There is 2. Probably the craziest thing though is the drive system. I don't know if I can get this camera under here to really show you. This thing has 2 mini axles on it, front and back. And then over here on this side, it has a belt drive system with a clutch. This is your actual drive off the engine with the belts on it, go into that clutch. And then under here, you got a transfer case, drive shafts. It's got like that combined gearbox transfer case deal down there. Inside of that one box, we got high range, low range, forward, and reverse. Up here, this is forward, reverse, high range, low range. The hysterical thing about these is the high range is absolutely comically fast. These do have the V-twin engine in them. All of them do. It's a 23 horsepower V-twin. It's like pretty much the same thing as the Predator ones at Harbor Freight. Is really no different. They want like $1,000 for those engines over at Harbor Freight. And again, these things are going remarkably cheap. For some reason, again, I don't know, they get a bad rap. I think if you have some property or something and you're looking for the cheapest type of wheel loader to just move some stuff around, you can't even buy a used, you can't even buy a crappy tractor with the front end loader on it, you know what I mean? Let alone a brand new machine, at least. I think these end up being a pretty good deal overall, comparatively. I will say though, I think the build quality on these, whatever factory these are coming from, is a little bit lower comparatively to some of the other machines, I'll be honest. Like the exhaust is square tube, which it's kind of crazy. I've never seen that. That is the exhaust, it's square tube. It works. It's not a race engine, so it works fine. You know what I mean? They seem a little hacked together and this and that, but I don't see any glaring issues. I think they're neat. I think the mini axles and the drive system is, while it can be problematic. I have seen people get rebuild kits for these clutches and stuff, and it's like a multi-layer dry clutch. It should last a long time as long as you know how to use a clutch. A lot of people don't, but I don't really see any super problematic issues. If I were to have to like work on one and fix something, just like homebrew in my garage, I wouldn't mind messing with this. It's very straightforward. It's all stuff we know. It's drive shaft, it's like a gearbox, it's mini axles and stuff. I think they're neat. One thing I have noticed with all of them I've messed with, and it's varying, is that the shifting linkage can be really difficult to shift, and it's a cable drive off of this deal. It's cables down here, and under this cover down here is the shifters for the gearbox. Some of them you'll see are almost impossible to shift. Some of them are buttery smooth. It can be adjusted, I think, either on the shipping container over here, gets a little corrosion built in the cable and the shifter. Who knows? Who really knows? But I've seen people bend the little shifter links under here, get a better angle on it to help if you get one that's real sticky. If you get one and you find one, you think it's broken, they're like, hey, this thing won't shift. We can't get it into low range or any gears or anything. Most likely it's actually not broken. It's just the linkage, the cables and crap. You can pull this cover off and tap it with a hammer and you'll get it to go into gear. Now, once you get one of these in the low range, just leave it in a low range. There's like no reason to use the high range. Leave it in the low range, use the forward and reverse. I think they're kind of neat little machines for what they are. They're not the most refined thing. They're pretty rough, but what are you gonna do? All right, so enough blabbing here. We're gonna give you a demo of these machines. So this one's fired up. These have like the throttle on this one's like a twisty guy or something. This one, I'll be honest, this one seems a little slow compared to some of the other ones I've used. I don't know if there's an adjustment for pressure. There very well may be, I'll have to look. And also, when you buy stuff from auctions, if someone knows a trick, they can mess with it, intentionally mess it up, make you think it's broken or something, so they can get it for cheaper, right? So that's always a concern. You want to look it over. This one just feels a little slower than a lot of the other ones I've had. Same motor and stuff. But as you can see, this type of machine right here will only pick up like, I don't know, 400 pounds before tipping. I think 400 is probably even pretty liberal on that estimate. I think I had two guys that couldn't have weighed more than 350 standing in a bucket before, and it was a little tippy. But depends on your weight. You're the counterweight, but probably 400 pounds or so. This one has a fan and a horn too. Yeah, this one seems, I'm gonna be honest with you, this one seems really slow. I'm gonna have to look at it, see if there's anything to adjust on that. Change the hydraulic oil. Worst case scenario, the pump is just kind of crappy, right? That could always be a possibility, but seems fine. Seems fine otherwise, but that's a risky run buying any of this stuff. You might get one with a crappy pump. Hopefully not, right? All right, I'm gonna give you a demo of the wheel loader here. Oh, she fired right up. Now, one thing with these things that I have noticed universally with them is they all need the idle turned up a bit. I don't know if in China where they tuned the carburetor, this motor specifically, they tuned it a little lean or whatever. It always kind of wants a little choke. The idle here, let me foot off the throttle. It's 90 degrees out here, so that helps with the idle. It's kind of idling, but I think the idle is just too low on all of them. And obviously that's something you can adjust. I think you need to turn the idle up a little bit. Because regularly, especially when it's cold out, you gotta keep your foot on the throttle on these things. This one's a little sticky on the shift. There's the clutch, there's the reverse, and then we're in low range. And if you notice, this right here, that's all the turning you get. Whee! See if I can show you the kind of crappy turning radius, but totally usable as well. Yeah, that's it. That's all the turning you get. Now, one thing for sure, it's four-wheel drive. I haven't gotten one stuck. The ground was pretty soft. They go pretty good. It's not that heavy. I don't. Give it some throttle. There you go. Another thing I've noticed, kind of universal in all these, is once you get up here, you can see quite a bit of play on that deal. It's not very not very tight on that end. In the middle, it's pretty tight. And then, you know, you got You got all that. Gotta just kind of keep your foot on the throttle the whole time. Again, I think the throttle or the idle can be turned up on all these things. This is low range. I'll give you the speed and low range demo. Here we go. I'm cruising at low range. That's not that bad. This is reverse and low range. That's not that bad. I want to see if I can get a demo of how fast this thing goes in high range, though. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, can I even get it in high range, first of all? Okay, yeah. No, it went right in the high range. It went right in the high range. There is something funny with these. If you're hold on. Some of them I've noticed won't reverse in high range. You gotta, like, they're super finicky. Hold on. Yeah, there's something funny with there's some kind of shift pattern that's kind of finicky. Like I said, once you get it into low range, just leave it in low range, honestly, because forward and reverse works. That's all you really need. But there is a high range. But hold on, they do kind of something weird if you get it. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that's not it. That's high range forward, but now it's like locked. I don't know what the deal is. They kind of do that. You got high range forward, but not really reverse, I don't think. Again, leave it in low range. Don't even mess with it. Okay, just for funsies, now I'm gonna try to show you what this thing does in high range. This driveway is not smooth. This thing has no suspension. I'm probably gonna hurt myself, but let's give it a go. If I can get it in the high range. Nope. Hold on. Oh, is that it? Nope. What the heck? Hold on.